Hello, everybody. This is Swati live from Los Angeles. It's 7 p.m. where I am, and I just want to make a note that there has been a time change, daylight savings here on Pacific Coast and other parts of the US. So, depending upon where you are, and if wherever you are, if there has been any clock change or not, we may not be I may not be coming on at the time you're used to. Just check whatever it is, the equivalent time for you, wherever your location is. But it's going to be 7 p.m. PST. Make sure you have the right time. Now, suddenly in Los Angeles, it has become cold. It was a really warm and long summer, which I love. But just since yesterday, Los Angeles has become kind of chilly and cold. There is cold breeze outside, and although it is sunny, it's not really exactly hot sunny. That's a big change for us, time change. So the days have become shorter. Suddenly it starts becoming dark at 5 o'clock. Plus, it's cold. Now, some of you, depending upon where you are, you must be saying, yeah, we know, compared to what we are experiencing, this is nothing. You are just experiencing some chilly thing that you have to wear a light jacket when you go outside. So, I apologize to those who are suffering from cold weather or maybe hot weather. If you are in Brazil or parts of South America, you actually may be experiencing whatever, from what I understand, a hot summer. So that's interesting, right? We are in different locations and we are kind of, it's a sense of community. We are all together, an international community with different time zones, different weathers. And I really love that. I love to communicate with people who come from different cultures. So, having said that, now I just want to remind you last two sessions, we basically talked about relationships, like improving relationships, since that was a quest for several of you. Now, I want to move on to the other really important quest that a lot of you have, and rightly so, which is to move more towards peace and harmony. And that's why the title of today's session I have is Peace and Harmony. So, what comes in the way of peace and harmony? Some of the things I'm going to say may be repetitions from my 6 week long camp, or in the beginning when I was talking about what's coming in your way. Think about what feelings are coming in your way of being happy. But even if it is repetition, I think it's still important. Repeating something that is important is okay, because it just means that it will become even more clear, or this time around it may mean something different to you. So what comes in your way? So there are several things that can come in our way. Several types of emotions includes fear, anxiety, uh, restlessness, jealousy, greed, social comparison, several things. But today I would like to focus on anger, because no matter who you are and what you're doing, I know everybody has experienced anger at some point in their life, or other. Some of you may think, yeah, I do get angry, but it's not such a big deal. It does not come in my way of moving towards sense of peace and harmony. And if so, that's great. But a lot of us, when we do feel anger, there is a reason, and that makes us feel very unhappy for a while. Now, even worse for some of us, um, or some of you guys, the anger gets violent. And by that, sometimes it may actually lead to physical violence, but even otherwise, like throwing things and stuff like that. And if not that, yelling or saying things very loudly that you regret later on, cursing or saying very hurtful, mean things. So these can be reactions to the anger. These can be destructive reactions, as in they can break relationships, or sometimes you regret it later. And that these are the type of situations that I'm going to address today. Now, there are two types of things. One is external situation, just something happens and it makes us angry. You don't have control over it. Like you may lose something or somebody, or someone who's close to you may experience an illness, or you yourself may fall sick or may get into an accident. Something terrible may happen to you. You don't have any control over it, but it may make you feel angry, like, why me kind of a feeling. That's one type of anger. The other type of anger for a lot of us comes because of the people around us, friends, family, or people who may even be strangers. Sometimes they say things or do things that seem very inconsiderate, or it seems like they are not paying attention to what you are feeling. You may feel ignored. You may feel misunderstood. Even worse, you may feel this person is in fact attacking you purposely. These kinds of things can make you feel very angry. Now, when you feel angry, it feels justified to use whatever words you want, or to be hot headed, or to have these strong reactions, because sometimes we are afraid that unless we communicate it that way, the other person may not understand that we are hurt, or they may feel like we are condoning it, or will take anything. It's okay to hurt us, and we are afraid of that. Now, this is the other situation in which you may experience anger, but what I would like you to see is thing number one, or point number one: check what's underneath the anger. Typically, anger is a secondary emotion. The primary emotion underlying anger is typically either fear or hurt. You are really hurt, or you are afraid of your survival. But when we are hurt or we are afraid, to say that, oh, I'm hurt, or oh, I'm afraid, that feels like helpless, powerless. But if our reaction to these feelings is anger, then it feels like we are in control. Typically, notice this: you are afraid or you're hurt, that's like a lack of control. But when you are angry, it feels like you are in control, or you can hurt somebody. You can be honest. We are in a fight mode. Between flight and fight, anger is in a fight mode. So you're not worried about the long term or consequences or good things. You're worried about survival now. So you're more willing to say things and do things that are for now. How do I survive? How do I communicate as harshly as possible? And it's all well and good when you want to create a distance, when you want to communicate in a certain way that you think that's how it is supposed to be. Well and good. I have no problems with that. Anger does have some value in some situations. But a lot of times, anger is not pleasant. Anger makes you feel unpleasant feelings. Sometimes it destroys things and you regret it later on. You hurt people who are close to you. So these are the type of situations where you want to think about how to change your pattern. We all have a pattern or a relationship with things that are unpleasant, and when we express it in anger. But you may want to change your relationship with anger, or rather the pattern in which you express your anger. Now the question is, how do we use mindfulness philosophy to do that? First of all, when there is anger, you want to notice it before you actually get into your pattern. If you want to change a pattern, first of all, you have to notice when it's happening. That's one way you use mindfulness. As you become more mindful, you will notice your physical sensations. You will notice when and how you are about to feel that surge of anger and you're about to do those things. And you may want to then think about, how do I change it? How do I express it differently? So you get a chance, you get that moment of freedom because of noticing. That's number one. There's another way in which you can use mindfulness: feeling awareness meditations. How do you change the pattern? What does it mean? What should you do instead of your regular way of expressing anger? What you should do? What you could have done differently last time you expressed anger? All these things are insights into what's underneath the anger, how you want to express it differently. So by doing a feeling awareness meditation, you can get insight into the past anger, and that gives you a chance to change it in the future. By the way, these things can take a long time for some people because we have accumulated these habits over a long period of time. So a lot of noticing and a lot of slow change needs to happen. Sometimes after a long processing, it feels like the change happened overnight. I have talked about my own experience in the past. I'm going to say it again. My wonderful and supportive husband and I, there are times when we argue and he says things that are very hurtful to me. In the past, there was a time when, as a psychologist, I used to try to teach him good communication style, how not to use blaming, how not to aggravate the other person, how just to talk about your own feelings, I statements, all these things. But it never worked. But there was one time when I did a feeling awareness meditation on anger, when I was extremely livid with something he had done and something he had said. I had felt totally blamed and misunderstood. So what I did was I did a feeling awareness meditation for almost hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. I had said that as long as I need, I'm going to sit here and meditate over this. I found compassion. I found that I understood him on a different level. Even when he's blaming me, it's because there is some hurt he's feeling. I kind of knew that, but at that time, I related to his hurt on a different level. I feel since that time, my relationship with him has changed. So when I get angry with him or when I respond to whatever he's saying to me, I may still react not in the most like the best way, but I understand it on a different level. And later on, the way I react to him has definitely changed. I am more compassionate towards him. By the way, compassion is not pity, or it doesn't mean that somehow, oh, now I understand you. It's not like a superiority, it's compassion, feeling with the person. Because of that, now he has changed, he has become mellow because he knows that I understand him a lot better. So slowly our relationship has changed, and that is an example in which the way you relate to anger could change too by using feeling awareness meditation. There are several ways in which you can react to a person who's irritating, who's bothersome, who angers you. Compassion is one way. Because it's my husband, it actually helped me to feel compassion. But there are other things you can do. You can communicate directly with the person in writing or verbally or email, whichever way suits you. And that way it gives you some time to think about it in a different way and then communicate it to the person the way they may hear you. If they don't hear you, at least you may have a feeling of not just condoning what they were saying or doing, that you made a point, you took a stand. Sometimes, even after thinking about it, you may feel, no, you need to communicate with harsh words to this person. You need to show anger to this person, but make a choice. And they do it with awareness. You will see that there is a difference. So there are all these different things you can do. Sometimes you may not want to do anything. Your anger may subside just because thinking about it. So given all these things, now what I'm going to do is today I'm going to do an anger awareness meditation with you guys. There are some comments I see. Let me see what people are saying. Okay, Inyo says that she is hoping that she didn't miss it because of maybe, I'm assuming it's because of time change. Ron says, nice to see you again. Yes, it is nice if you are coming back to these sessions after some time. So, given all these things, now let's do an anger awareness meditation. Once we are done with this meditation, I would like you to tell me what came to you, but you may not be able to type all this, but do email me and let me know how you reacted to anger. So let's go for it. Let me get rid of this bottom to give us more space. Okay, so I would ask you to close your eyes. Since you're going to go inwards, it's a good idea to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Breathe in and breathe out and pay attention to the breath. Pay attention to how your body is receiving this rejuvenation, this energy that comes to you through your breath. Breath in and see it going to all different parts of your body. Here and now, how my body is reacting to my breath. Bring yourself here and now, everything is outside the door. And now, in front of your mind's eyes or in your mind, think about a situation from your past that had made you angry. And whatever you did or whatever you did not do, you're not feeling so great about it. You don't think you reacted the best possible way. Think about this situation and allow the images and thoughts from this incident to come to you. It may be an incident with a person, or it may be a general purpose, or any event that has happened to you, and you may have some anger about it. Let it come to you. For some of you, you may feel the anger again. Some of you may not feel it with the same intensity, but either way, you are safe right now because you are meditating over the anger. You're not going to do anything about it. So it's okay to let it come to you and watch how your body feels like. When you experience this anger, how does your body react to it? Your head, your shoulders, your heart, upper back, lower back, tummy, where do you feel it? And how? And now when you feel it in your body, some of you may not be able to feel it in the body, but try to pay attention to any sensation in your body you feel. Any minute or little sensation, maybe your heart races, or maybe there is a slight headache, or shoulders feel tight, or your tummy has this funny butterfly feeling. Notice it. This is how anger feels like to you. Now, as you're paying attention to your body, now move to the images and thoughts that come to you. Just watch it, observe it, pay attention to it. Is it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? For some people, if the anger felt justified, you may even have pleasant feelings. That happens. But for most of you, you may have unpleasant feelings or maybe neutral. Notice pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. This is unpleasant. This is unpleasant. Notice, keep noticing. Unpleasant. Keep noticing if it is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. If your mind is wandering around, bring it back to the incident or the person, and then see if you have any images or thoughts. Just keep watching it. All you're doing is you're allowing your mind to hover around the anger, watching it, observing it, and see if you see anything new in your anger. Allow the anger to be there if it is still. Go back to it and notice if you feel it with the same intensity. Just keep watching it. Watch your anger. Observe your anger. Is it still pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Has anything changed? As you look at the images or as you look at thoughts, just casually hovering around, watching, observing, but aware. Pay attention to what you see, or what you feel, or what you think. Bring your attention back to the anger or whatever is going on in your mind at this point. Whatever you're watching, bring it back and see if it still feels the same, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And if the intensity and the body sensations, does it still feel the same? Is there any difference between when you started and now? And now I'm going to ask you to stop this meditation and come back to your breath. Just say in your mind, may I let go of my anger? May I find peace? And come back to your breath. Breathe in and breathe out and paying attention to the breath again. And say to yourself in your mind 3 times, breathe in, I smile, breathe out, I'm okay. Breathe in, I smile. Breathe out, I'm okay. Breathe in, I smile. Breathe out, I'm okay. Now, if any one of you wants to write, please do. But sometimes it takes time for whatever your question is to appear on the screen. So I'm going to say a couple of things. In my meditation today, something occurred to me about a situation that was, I can't say it was like extremely angering, but it was irritating. And I realized that one, I could look at this situation with humor. So that's the other way to deal with when you do feel angry with somebody. And if it is not such an important thing, one high level defense we all have is humor. So humor is our way of dealing with ironies of life, and you can get amused. Even if you want to say something to the person, you can say it in humor, depending upon, of course, your relationship with them. But most importantly, like like I had said a couple of times back, that one amusing way to capture mindfulness is this: life sucks, but everything changes, and so don't personalize anything. So that's what it is. Everything changes, so don't personalize it. So when anger comes to you, and if you're really hurt, and if you personalize it as if there is something so against you that your pride, your sense of self gets shaken, it could be coming from that other person's weakness or other person's issue. And it may not, sometimes it may not even be about you. And once you depersonalize it, that's the other thing that helps. So there are so many different ways in which we can deal with the anger that comes to us. Now, I don't see any question. So I am going to say bye to you guys at this point. If you're still busy typing and if I'm not giving you enough time, do write to me. You can always email me. And you might have received an email, because after this morning session, I asked everybody if there is any one specific event or incident that has made them angry, and if it is bothering them, they can email it to me, because I can address not the specific situation but similar kinds of things in the next session to give some specific ideas. My ideas will be just ideas, but main thing is you need to meditate over it to see if those ideas make sense to you and how you want to implement it. So that's where the insight lies. So be happy, be peaceful. Nothing is so important in life. It's only whatever you are doing with in good faith, and that's where you are collecting merits. So don't get, I hope, too upset about situations. Easy for me to say. Okay, so I have a couple of questions here. So Imyo is saying thank you. You're welcome. I have a very upsetting situation with my family relations, one son specifically, and today I had that thrown in my face yet tonight. So, Imyo, I really hope that the meditation we did, I don't know if you said that you had that thrown in my face yet tonight, if you're talking about a real life situation or in meditation. Either way, I really suggest that meditate over it. Do the anger awareness meditation over it. And if it is a close family, since you're talking about one son, I assume you're talking about your own son, then compassion may be a way to understand what's going on and to deal with this situation. Mariko is saying, when I started tonight, I was so upset. I did not know how to focus on meditation. But while meditation, noticed that I was too emotionally I was too emotionally seeing the fact from my side and not seeing the fact from the other person's side. And Mariko, I'm so happy to hear this because it's true. A lot of times we are busy defending ourselves and paying attention to us. But when we really think about it and pay attention to our side, sometimes the situation is, I mean, it can change totally. It's okay to admit our own mistake to ourselves too sometimes. Emio is saying being brief is not my strong suit. That's okay. I hope you meditate over it and you find some insights. And I would love to hear about your insight. Right now, however, I'm going to say bye to you guys. And I would love to hear from you. And I will see you next week. Okay, Emio is saying that she didn't feel angry during meditation, only hurt. And that makes sense. The anger is a reaction to feeling hurt. So what you want to do about it, that's something you may want to think about or rather meditate over. Okay, bye all of you and I'll see you next.